Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Knit Girls, episode 88. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It is
Tuesday. We just had a whole discussion whether it was Tuesday or Wednesday.
December 6th.
Yes.
Yes. 2011. We're a little late recording this week because we had travel and then...
Conflicting schedules.
Yes.
I got off work and she was going to work.
Yeah, I got to work. So I haven't had a ton of sleep, but I got to work the overnight shift last night. And anyway, it was for like a system reboot, so it's one of those things where you only get a couple hours sleep. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get this done and show you guys what we're working on and some good stuff that we got.
Yay!
So
The world rejoiced.
You look like you're at the end of a row. So
I am at the end of the row.
First.
I am working on a mitered crosses square for Wheezy. I actually ran out of yarn on this day. I had to start a new ball of the contrast color, and I had just thrown my big bag in my other big bag. My bigger bag.
Your bags just went meta.
And I forgot that I had run out of contrast color yarn. So I got up to the point where there's 9 stitches on each side of the stitch marker, and I needed to change colors and didn't have any, which made me sad. So I started something new at work.
I was going to say, did you have any other yarn?
I had brought some sock yarn that was gained, so I cast on something new. But anyways, this is the mitered crosses. One mitered of the mitered crosses blanket. And it would be accompanied by 4 other ones and then log cabined around. It is on size 6 needles.
I like that you just turned log cabin into a verb.
I think it should be a verb. It's something that you're doing. Verbs, they're what you do.
Yes.
And I told my principal today, sometimes I wish I was back in the real classroom. And then I wake up and I'm like, but yeah, so size 6 needles. I have no idea. Oh, I could tell you what that is.
4.0 millimeter.
You know everything.
No, I don't. I just know that.
And I'm using Noro Silk Garden. 2 different colorways of that. I have no idea what their numbers are because I switch them up every once in a while.
It doesn't matter anyway. They won't match.
And the Cascade 220. Nope, nothing communicates with each other in this blanket, and that's what I love about it. It's by the Mason-Dixon, one of the Mason-Dixon girls, and it's fabulous. It's a great pattern, and at the point that I bought it, the proceeds went to disaster relief for Japan, so it was for a good cause as well. And I'm obviously getting my money's worth out of this pattern, for sure. Also, so I told you I ran out of yarn, and so Ravelry, I got on Ravelry, and I already purchased the Ziggity by Kirsten Kapoor, and we happen to be doing a knit along in the SSK group that has Kirsten Kapoor as the person. So I had some bugga already wound in my bag, and I cast on, that's the wrong side, not that it really matters because it's Ziggity. It's Ziggity, it's garter stitch. It is Ziggity, but it's also garter stitch.
I'm glad I'm not the only one not here tonight.
So I cast this on using a provisional cast on. I used Judy's Magic Cast On as the provisional cast on. But because I switched purses, I didn't have this is like epic fail turned awesome. I didn't have my tapestry needle or waste yarn that I typically have in my bag. So when I did my 3 stitches provisional cast on, I did them onto as if Judy's Magic Cast On. So I held them parallel and cast on, and then worked only on one half of the stitches and left the other half on the cord. I didn't have these needles actually, it's 16 inch. So I wanted to take it off the cord so that I could actually knit, because it's kind of a garter tab cast on but with lace on it. It's very cool. Anyway, so I took a paper clip and put my 3 provisionally cast on stitches on that paper clip, and then did my little garter tab / lace cast on, and went and picked them up off the paper clip.
Did you have students staring at you?
No, they were watching Polar Express. Oh. It's Polar Express season! Favorite movie. I read the book to them, and when we watch the movie, I love that book. And so I didn't have stitch markers with me either, so I sell mechanical pencils that come in these lovely gold twist ties around the top of the saran wrap they're wrapped in. And so I stole one of those. or reused and recycled.
Repurposed.
There we go. One of those as a stitch marker, and actually was smarter than I thought I was, and had a stitch marker in my desk drawer at work, along with waste yarn, but no tapestry needle. So I'm gonna have to take a tapestry needle to work. But anyway, there it is. It's very cool in that you are creating stitches and garter in between the two stitch markers, but you're doing a lace applied edging at the same time, and the stitch count on the lace applied edging changes every row. You increase and decrease, so you kind of have to keep track, but she has a little spreadsheet for it. It's so clever. And it's only a 6-row repeat. So it's been enjoyable, and I can knit and watch the 6th graders. It does call for a contrast color. You can see, I think, pretty well. I just print patterns in black and white, but it calls for a contrast color for the actual zigzag motifs right there. And I don't have any more bugga. This was my only skein of bugga. It's the rusty
Willow Soulflower.
Yes, that I got in a club colorway. That was a club colorway for Loopy U. Looks like that. So, I don't know what I'm going to do for my contrast color. I asked on Plurk today about other people who use the bugga base, because I thought there were other people that use the plain bugga base, and a lot of people told me no, that it's the, I want to say bugga light, but that's not, yeah, the skinny bugga instead. So I don't know, I might spin some hand spun in like a gray or a brown.
Dude, don't you have like 15,000 skeins of fingering weight? Why does it have to be the same?
It doesn't, but this is a little bit thicker than fingering. Bugga's a little bit thicker. It's considered like a sport weight.
Or you could just buy a skein of bugga.
Yeah, bugga's expensive. It's like $32.
I might have some. I'll look.
But anyway, it doesn't have to be bugga, but I wanted something a little bit thicker. So it might be, I think it'd be a good use for hand spun. It only takes half a skein of bugga, which is my other thing. I don't want to spend $32 on a skein of yarn and only use half of it.
I was just thinking that I would have to look and see if I had some bugga, but then I thought, no, I don't, because everything's in my stash on Ravelry, which made me think of something that we talked to a lady about this weekend.
We can discuss that.
At Arkansas. She had a disaster of some sort in her house. I think it was a fire.
She had a fire.
And it destroyed everything in her stash room. I mean, all of her equipment, all of her yarn, fiber, all that. And, you know, everything in her house was insured, but she has to actually come up with a list of things that were lost, like every skein of yarn and every bump of fiber.
And the retail value of that and the replacement cost, which sometimes, it's hard to say a replacement cost, because I was looking on Etsy the other day at my history of Etsy, and there are some people that were wonderful dyers like Yarn Zombie that are no longer dying, that stuff's almost irreplaceable.
Yeah. So it's one more reason to put your stash in Ravelry. I know that Casey is at some point working on, or he's got a feature request to make stash private, or for you to be able to select that certain things are private in your stash. And I think that's what Laura's mostly waiting on. But that and actually doing it.
Yeah, but that would take a whole summer, I think.
I mean, that's just one more reason to put everything in Ravelry, so it's easier to keep track of it. Anyway, do you have any other progress?
I started, so I wanted to start both knit-alongs this week. So Ziggity's, the SSK knit-along, and then for the Sal Cal, for the Knit Girls board, I started my Hitchhiker. So this is out of Cloud Lover. Oh, the Ziggity I'm knitting on Sussexes as well. So this is Cloud Lover, hand spun, Haunted Vineyard. The first of 4 ounces, 400 yards, that is being knit into a Hitchhiker. And I really enjoy the way it's striping sequenced, like the sequences. I am not so good on the counting. So sometimes I get to 5, it's supposed to be an 8-row repeat. Yeah. Sometimes it's 10 before I'm like, hey, I should decrease there. And sometimes I forget to do the increase on one side, but it'll be fine. This is just my, hey, I'm sitting in VK and I need to do something. Actually, I was secret knitting this week, so this was my brain break knitting in the meantime. But that's what it looks like.
So how many yards are in that cake?
400. And then I'll show what you can see where my tie was. And then I'll show my, current, I got 8 ounces, so this is the first 4 ounces. And then I'll have 4 more that I'm spinning currently. So what are you working on?
The socks that I'll never be done with.
They're going to be awesome, though, and the person's going to really appreciate them.
Sometimes you just get a project that isn't, like, I don't know, that isn't thrilling for you, so it's harder to convince yourself to work on it.
They're really pretty, though.
So, these are the Bavarian cable socks.
I love how mopey that just sounded.
Sorry. These are the Bavarian cable socks.
These are the Bavarian cable socks.
Which is a pattern by Wendy Johnson in her toe-up box of socks. And this is in Volmisa in the single malt colorway and the 80-20 twin base.
I'm going to nickname these the Eeyore socks.
And it's about 2 rows further than you saw it last week. So I've turned the heel, started on the cuff, and that's as far as I got because I took it with me to Arkansas, but I didn't knit a stitch in Arkansas. Not a single one. So these have only gotten worked on today as we sat down to record. But they're what I'm going to keep on the needles for a while, and I'll be taking them with me as I travel later this month. So I feel like I never stop traveling. But first,
wait till January, February, March, April
when I never go anywhere. First world problems, right? So I have one FO before you start your parade.
I don't have a parade.
So yesterday, as I said before, I was working a weird shift. So I had a bunch of time when I should have been sleeping to catch up because I was going to be up all night. That I didn't because I was up and I had to get, Kobe ready for school and all that. And so by that point I was awake. And so instead I sat and watched Doctor Who all day. And I can thank Karen for getting me into that. And Wendy. Because Wendy had us watch the most recent version. So I've gone back and watched
We saw the Van Gogh episode.
Yeah. I've gone back and watched the Doctor Who was before David Tennant. That whole season. And now I've started on the David Tennant season. Not the old ones, but the ones that's a few years ago. So anyway, I had gotten my Punky Brewster yarn, which I don't know if I have what's left of the cake. No, I left it downstairs. I'd gotten my Punky Brewster yarn and it made me so happy, so I decided I was going to go ahead and make something out of that. And I wanted to make something I could take with me on my trip later this month. So I decided I was going to knit a hat, and then I had to narrow it down. Picking a pattern is like torture because there are so many options. It's so hard to nail it down for me. But anyway, I picked a pattern called Not Just a Chemo Cloche. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't know who the designer is, but we'll link it in the show notes. And I haven't woven it ends yet. It hasn't been blocked, but it's in another Crafty Girl.
Oh, that's cute.
In her Punky Brewster colorway in the worsted, which is like 215 yards, I think, per skein. And this used maybe a little over half of it. Now, it hasn't been blocked, so it's going to grow a little bit. And it's got this slit back here where you can tack a button and kind of have it a little more jaunty. So you could do it just the traditional kind of way. And it's going to stretch a little bit when it's blocked. It's a little too snug now, but not bad. Or you can do it. This is
going to have so much hair
hanging in my face, but you can kind of turn the brim up and have the a little button there, or a decoration or something. It's cute in the pattern the way that she's got it, but anyway, it's a cute little cloche, and I'm gonna block it tonight. I didn't have time to do it yesterday, but I have so enjoyed working with this worsted that I might have to convince her to dye me a sweater's worth because it was just awesome to work with. And that's another Crafty Girl. And I think she's got an Etsy shop. But
she does have an Etsy shop.
It's got a cute linen stitch brim, which was a giant royal pain to knit, but it's pretty. That's actually
I think it looks lovely with variegated yarn.
I do too. I didn't see any finished objects with variegated, so I was a little bit worried. But it's Punky Brewster, dude. Makes me happy.
Short with some sparkly laced Converses.
So I don't have any sparkly laced Converses. Can you believe that?
I do.
So
can you believe that?
Yes, without a doubt. So that's the only thing that I finished this week. What have you got?
I have miter crosses square, which is correct this time.
Oh, yarn barfed.
So it looks like that.
So you have 7 or 8 done?
8,
Okay.
I believe. So that's number 8. And I actually picked up with the contrast collar on the one side, on the first side, because I just had that much left, like literally. That's how much I had left total. So I had run out right after that. So I just picked up with that instead. You can see how much I had left.
You finished that on the way home yesterday? Sunday?
Finished that on the way home Sunday, and then I cast on the other new one. And then I wanted to share this, and I've been holding on to it. I actually finished this last Wednesday. It's Maya's square. I wasn't going to say who it belonged to, but it's my square partner for
The Knit Girls.
The Knit Girls square swap. Sorry, Maya, if you wanted to be surprised. I do both the Knit Girls and the FOP square, so sometimes I have to get them right in my head. It is out of Vintage, and it was a pattern I made up. I actually put it kind of sort of in the show notes last week, and I'm going to block it tonight. I'm going to wet block it, because that's what I like to do with acrylic-based yarns, is wet block them a little bit. Vintage is a very cool yarn in that it is machine washable. That's what I used for my baby sweaters. And it is an acrylic wool nylon blend, and it feels super soft. I like it lots. And I knit that on size 8, 5.0 millimeters, 16-inch Addy needles. And I have, there's a stitch marker in
You
there.
just about hit me in the face.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I hate that I missed that. If I'm going to hit someone in the face, I should be at least cognitive of the fact.
I've actually seen her kick someone in the face at my house.
I warned him first.
You did. Multiple times.
I have that much left.
It was not Mr. Awesome.
No, it was not Mr. Awesome. Anyway. So, that is all for me for finished objects.
I'm actually wearing hand knits because it's cold on the second floor of my house right now. I'm surprised Kobe hadn't said something about it before, but we got up here and it was like 60 degrees.
That's because only Kobe comes upstairs.
This is
He's
true.
a boy.
And he likes to sleep in his underwear and that's it. Which he'd probably be upset if I told our entire viewing audience. But he doesn't watch the show, so it's okay. So for spinning, that's what I did pretty much all weekend at Arkansas, was spun. We took the sidekicks and...
We did. There's a great picture of us on Facebook.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it.
It's us spinning on the sidekicks with Sarah.
Oh.
From Ravelry in
Yes.
between us.
We got to meet One Stitch Short, Sarah from Ravelry, who was
super
so
sweet.
Nice. But yeah, we had a lot of fun, and we got a lot of people asking us questions about wheels and spinning in general. So it was a really good time. It was much. We'll talk more about that.
We'll talk about Arkansas later.
So I finished the batch that I showed you guys last week, which were the last thing that I hadn't started from Arkansas the previous year, and they were from Spinning Straw into Gold, and they were a BFL Tencel blend, I think, 70-30. And there were 3 individual 1-ounce bats, one that was like a purple, one that was a periwinkle, and one that was a green. So I spun them gradient style and finished them Sunday night, I think. And this is what I have. So I was going to ply it, but it's going to probably take a few hours to ply, and I just didn't feel like it. So you can see a little bit of the blue here underneath. But this is a sidekick bobbin, and it holds, what, like 3.5 ounces or something like that. It doesn't hold as much as the other shop bobbins.
It holds around 3.
But so I'll Navajo ply it and to keep the colors together, and I hope that I can get 250 yards of a Navajo ply, but we'll see. Fiber does what fiber wants to do. But I spun it pretty thin. I'm happy with it, and obviously once we get into favorite things, you'll see how happy I was with this fiber. But anyway, that took most of the weekend, and that's pretty much all the crafting I did in Arkansas.
Okay.
Are you still counting?
I was, but I'm
You're
fine.
better now?
I'm better. I spun the singles, the first half of, so the first 2 ounces of the rest of my Haunted Vineyard. And I fractal spun this, and I fractal spun the first. So it's kind of fun to look at. I think this was the one that was just all, not shredded, just, not shredded, not torn into strips. It was just one big strip that was spun.
You don't have Neelix at your house.
I don't have Neelix at my house. So this is how I fractal spun this too. And you can see how that becomes that a little bit. I think that's kind of cool.
So you've spun the other...
So I'm in the process of spinning the other half of this, and then I'm going to plow them, and hopefully have around 400 yards again, and use what I need to use to finish that off, because Hitchhiker you can make her as big or as small as you want. You just stop when you have 6 grams of yarn left, and then you decrease down from there.
You just bind off one long row.
Okay. Yeah, you've knit Hitchhiker before. What are you going to knit for this Alcal?
I don't know.
Okay. So, half of this is done, and the other half's on the wheel. And I had a daddy-daughter date night tonight, which is what I call when my father and I hang out for long, extended periods of time. So, he made me dinner, and we had dinner, and then we started to watch the new Pirates of the Caribbean, Stranger Tides, which has Blackbeard in it.
I can't. I'm done with Pirates of the Caribbean. They lost me in the last movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I love me some Johnny Depp, don't get me wrong, but...
This is all Johnny Depp all the time.
It's just, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of done with it.
I was proud of myself because I remembered off the top of my head who Ponce de Leon was, and I was like, yes, history for the win. But anyway, I was spinning during that. And he likes my new wheel. I think all guys like the sidekick because they're just fascinated by how it works.
Technical and cool. And it traveled really well to Arkansas.
We took both our wheels, and in fact, on the way back, one was on the floorboards in the back, and one was buckled up in the seat.
It traveled really well. I'm planning to try to make a bag for mine after the first of the year when my holiday crafting is over. Because even though they're not, I mean, they're only like, what, 11 pounds?
Yeah.
The strap, it will wear on you if you're carrying it 4 blocks from one hotel to another.
Ask us how we know.
Yeah, so...
I'm thinking about getting a hard shell carry-on for mine.
That would work as well. So we have a review. Do you want to do the review?
Sure. We are reviewing Interweave Knits Accessory Edition. Before we get into this, and this was supposed to come out on the 5th, and actually Yarn Shops got it a little bit earlier. Interweave is doing last year they did this to their rebate program, where if you buy one of their magazines or books in the month of December, you can send in the receipt for $5 off.
You get a coupon. You get a check for $5.
Check for $5.
Which is cool.
So yeah, so that would take the price of this one down from $14.99 to
around $10.
Around $10, which is pretty good. And you can always get Interweave knits at your local yarn shop if they're offering a sale that works out well. If they're not, or you don't have a local yarn shop, Joann Fabrics and other crafting stores tend to sell them.
Before we get into that as well, I was wrong last week when we reviewed the other Interweave book, Winter 2011.
Oh, about the downloads?
About the downloads, yeah. I didn't, and I had a couple people email me and let me know that you can download them, the magazines themselves individually. You don't have to do a subscription, which was really cool because I went and I had a 10% off coupon. I went and downloaded the Interweave Knits Winter 2011, so now I have my own copy. And it's actually, I prefer it to the paper copy. Not for reviewing, but for my personal use. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard for us to review digital copies. So we start off by a kind of wedding section, which is mostly shawls. Everything in here is accessories, hence the name. And it does have a good number of accessories. Our favorite is the Cowrie Shell Shawl in this section. It's worked and shaped with short rows.
And it's a garter ridge primarily.
It is, and Sanguine Griffin Eidos was the yarn that was utilized for that project.
I like it because it's very simple, almost almost country, and it seems like something that your favorite grandmother would knit for you to wear on your wedding day. It's very classic and simple lines. It makes me happy.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good bridesmaid shawl, especially. Yeah, I also like the crocodile knit 1, crochet 2 shawl, the rule of 3 that is in here. That's a simple shawlette, one skein type thing. All right, then we have
There's a section
a
for
sock
socks.
section, and Stephanie Bolt, who is actually one of our viewers, knit the Meridian socks, and this is the first pattern that she's had published in a pattern. So congratulations, had published in a magazine. Hello. So congratulations, Stephanie. We thought that was very cool that we could say, hey, we know that person.
Yes, we do.
Virtually. Very awesome. And those use Osterman Step Classic, and I believe she's in Germany, maybe.
I have no idea.
I don't know. There are guys patterns in here, and one of the guys patterns that we like for the sock section is the Elusive Bias socks, which actually use Spud and Chloe Fine. I would probably not use Spud and Chloe Fine just because you want them to be machine washable.
But I like
and
the
wear
slip
well.
stitch.
I love all the detail
Fair
work.
look to it, and the photography in this is really, really well done, I think.
I'll show you your favorite.
And I think that that's a very good guy sock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it can be just black and gray if your gentleman in your life likes black and gray. I like these slippers. Leslie thinks they're ugly.
They're not for me, but that doesn't necessarily make them ugly.
They use Wool of the Andes Bulky and Knit Picks Roving. They are thrummed,
yeah.
which makes my cold feet very happy. I'm wearing Ugg boots right now with knit socks inside of them.
And you're still cold, aren't you?
Yes. Roving provides a fleecy lining in the thrummed Highland slippers. And it also utilizes the suede soles that you can purchase.
Yeah, you sew them on.
So I would have to get someone else to do the sewing probably, but
I think you could probably manage it.
pretty cool. I probably could. But do I want to?
They have everything in the magazine separated by what type of accessory it is. So the shawls are in one section, the socks are in another, the hats are in another, which I think is a really cute way to...
Leslie likes that photograph of the Elusive Bias socks.
Yeah, I like the perspective in that shot.
Oh, and that one's all... Okay, so there's also a theme with the names. So, like, the socks were all kind of earthy, like Snowy Earth, Highlands,
Landscape
Elusive
related.
Bias. I think they're all landscape related. Crocus.
Mhm.
They're all nature. Meridian. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
all
Geography style.
geography type stuff or earth terms. Then there is a hat section. I think this is my favorite photograph of the hat section because you get a cool overview. I like this coat and I want it.
Which is not what we're supposed to be looking at, but it is a cool coat.
I like that coat.
So if you know where to buy that coat.
I like the headband a whole lot. There's a lot of TAMs, and actually there's an article in here about the different types of hats.
Whether it's a beret, a slouch, or a tam.
But I really like that headband. I think it's cute and quirky and would be good for like a teenager. It's the Dryad headband, and it uses Haiku Simplicity by Skissel. Now I have to see if there's a theme in the names here. It's tree related. I think they're all tree. Let me look. Pointillist, Copenhagen. Pointillist is an art term. Pointillism, where you do the dots. That's actually a cool name for it's a like Trinity type stitch hat, which is dots. So it's pointillism. Copenhagen. I think it's all art terms. Yeah, it is. Oh, Dryad's not really an art term. I don't know.
Moving on.
Gothic architecture. Alright. So, Bray, Tam, / what is it article. Very cool. I also like how everything, especially in this section, but everything in all the sections, they photograph like the hats or the socks, not on feet, but on a plain white background. I thought that was kind of cool. There's also an article about cowls and how cowls are made and grafted. And then we get into the scarves, cowls, and ascots page. We both like the serpentine cowl, which is made out of cashmere, which actually I have 3 skeins of one color in the stash. So that might be what that becomes.
$10 says it's not.
Wonder how many. I'll have to look and see. I like the big pattern of that. There's a guy's cowl, which is the tilt cowl.
And this model is featured in this magazine a lot, and we'll show you better pictures of him.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that they kind of went outside the box for the male models, and this one, it's not all like Ken dolls. They have some personality to them.
I like this ascot. I'm not certain that I would ever wear an ascot, but I kind of like how she's especially wearing it down towards the bottom.
I'm meh on ascots. I like
I
the color they
typically
did
am
it in,
too.
though.
That's the Day Brightener ascot, and it uses Malibu worsted. We all have a skein of Malibu worsted in the stash. Leslie really likes the 2 Ribs Infinity scarf, which is out of Classic Elite Yarns.
It looks like it would kind of take forever to make just because it's a lot of the same thing.
Let me open this all the way.
It looks like it would also be a really good everyday piece. Well, an everyday around the house piece.
Love how you can always see me peeking around the books and magazines. So I can make sure that I have
ginger ale to settle my crazy stomach, because when I get off on my sleep schedule, my stomach's like, okay then, let's play this game.
Then there are hats and all the hat patterns. I got this.
Yeah.
I'm an English major. Are all writers. So there's like Emerson and Thoreau are these 2 hats. And these are the 2 guy hats. I'm sorry, these are all guy hats. We've already done the girl hats. And I love, love, love the Thoreau hat. I think that is super cool. That teal with brown, very classy. And actually the yarn is Alicia Goes Around. So they used Indie, which I really, really like. And the other one was Zara Plus.
I love this picture of the sky.
I'm not certain that I would knit an I-cord topped hat, although you could just end that hat like a typical hat.
I'm not crazy about the hat itself, but I just love the guy.
But that is such a funny picture. There's also a Frost hat, a Whitman cap, and that one is the Kingsley hat out of brown sheep shepherd shades. Saying that 10 times faster. They also use Shelter and Universal yarns in this section. And there's an up close of is that Thoreau? Yeah. Emerson and Thoreau are interchangeable in my head. And my 12th grade English teacher is now just shrieking.
I was going to say, we've probably got a few English folks out there that are going, oh my god.
Those existentialists. Trying to think. And then there's mittens and gloves. And we liked the Juris mitts for Guy if you have to do a last minute gift. They are convertible mittens.
And they're in a tacky Donegal tweed, I think.
Yep. I love tweed for Guy stuff. And then there's the Arc mittens out of Brown Sheep Lamb's Pride Bulky. So that would be super fast.
Yeah. That would be a good last minute gift. That might be what I make for my post person.
And that is about it. There's a couple more articles, but that is Interweave Knits Accessories in a nutshell. 42 patterns altogether.
A really good range of guy patterns.
Yeah, I like the guy patterns in here more than the girl patterns, I believe. So 42 patterns for $15.
Pretty good.
So when you think about it that way, pretty good. I think with like the $15 magazines, if there's 4 things that I would knit, then it's typically worth it. Especially since I get it at my LYS and I get a discount there because I work there. So that is the book review. If you are in the String Theory Sock Club and you do not want to be spoiled, you need to fast forward around 30 seconds because I got my String Theory Sock Club package. We all gone? Okay. I picked it up, so if you didn't move fast enough, I apologize. Or if I moved too fast. It is the Resistor colorway.
And this is in their Continuum base.
It is in their Continuum base. I switched all my last 2 shipments to the Continuum base. It also came with an awesome pattern. There it is. And an explanation as to what resistors are. I almost said we should have Michael up here so he could explain what resistors are to people. And the pattern is Hypothesis.
And it's a little bit of an out-of-the-box color, but I like it.
And that's how that would look knit up in that pattern. She talks about doing something that are
That would be a good
not
dye
stock
sock.
yarns, not stockinette, and she changes the pattern every time the color changes. So
Really?
it's very dependent on how you begin. So she says you should swatch beforehand to see how your yarn behaves, and it looks like it does. It has an afterthought heel. It's so very interesting.
Yeah.
So cool to get a pattern with
That's a
this
cool
up.
idea to have the pattern change every time the color changes.
Yeah, I like that idea. Someone else did that before too. But there it is again, String Theory Colorworks. They'll probably be opening their signups for their Sack Club probably within the next 3 months, I would say. Because I have one more package after this coming.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good pair of guy socks.
I asked Wheezy if he would wear socks out of this, and he told me no.
I bet you he would.
I said, well, Wheezy, it's mostly gray, and then it's stripes. And he said, it's stripes? And I said, yeah. According to the label, it's 7 rows gray, and I love how they do that. 3 rows yellow, 7 rows gray, 3 rows red. He's like, And I was like, well, you're retired. You can wear whatever socks you want.
Yeah, who are you trying to impress, Weezy?
I don't know. Someone.
But-
Not me.
So, we wanted to talk about Arkansas.
Yes.
We got there.
Let's talk about we drove, and on the drive, we listened to Knitables, and
Mhm.
we listened to Paula of the Knitting Pipeline.
No,
and
we listened to her on the way back.
Okay. We
We
listened to Knitables on the way there.
And somebody else, but I can't remember who else.
I think it was just Knitables, and then I put on Christmas music.
Yeah, you did.
But it's the season. But we had a great time listening to Diane, and she might do my Thin Ice Shawlet as her January knit along, which would be awesome.
That would be
and that's
cool.
very flattering.
That's good because I need to knit it. So, Diane, I vote that you do Thin Ice in January because I'll knit it along with you. I have some hand spun.
And she's super sweet, and she reminds me when I listen to her or watch her of Julia Child. And I don't know why, because she's not.
She's
but
very verbose, though.
she's very verbose, and she's very outgoing, and just cracks me up.
I've never seen her in a bad mood.
Yes, I love Diane.
So,
So we listened to her on the way, and then we got to Hot Springs, Arkansas,
eventually.
eventually.
Because it is a custom on our road trips that we have to get lost at least once.
Yes.
I keep trying to break that custom, but
No.
hasn't worked yet. And we actually waited too late to book the correct hotel at the reduced rate. So we,
At Embassy Suites.
At Embassy Suites. So we ended up booking at the Austin, which was far closer than the Embassy Suites.
It worked
turned
out awesome.
Yeah.
We were like a 1-minute walk versus I think everyone else had a 5 to 6 minute. It was long enough that the hotel shuttle was offering to pick people up.
So, but we had a really good time. Laura had classes Friday and Saturday, and we got to meet some viewers, and we got to make a bunch of new friends.
Yeah, so those of you who are not in the United States, Arkansas is to the west of where we are. It's around a 3-hour drive to Hot Springs.
From the Memphis area.
From the Memphis area. And this is a smaller festival. They had around, 27 vendors.
26 or 27 vendors.
And they're mostly local farms, smaller people, a couple yarn shops, but not a whole lot. And they also offered classes. And you know I kept this just because my name's on it.
So those were the teachers.
So those are the teachers. And this was the program. And actually you can see all the vendors on the back.
And this was the first year in Hot Springs. Before that, it was in the mountains up in Mount Magazine.
Yep.
And they moved it to accommodate more people, and there were more people there this year, so it's grown.
They had around 250 people show up. So that was very cool.
And a lot just came for the market on Saturday and the Ravelry party Saturday night.
And there's a fashion show and speed knitting and speed crochet competition.
And Annie Modisette was there doing classes.
And she was the keynote speaker.
And
it's just lots of fun. It's fun to see people that, especially viewers that we don't get a chance to see very often, or friends that we don't get to see, like Linda Hitt, very often.
And then we had a viewer over dinner who almost made me cry.
Oh,
Angela. She was very sweet. And then we got to spend some time with Lita. And I mean, we had a lot of really, really good company this weekend. New friends and old friends. And we got to hang out with Sarah One Stitch Short.
Yep.
One of the 4 employees of Ravelry. And her baby was there.
You got to hold the baby.
I got to hold the baby for like 2 whole hours while he slept. He was such a good boy. And she's really nice. Very, very down to earth. And we got to sit and talk with her and her stepmom and a couple of other friends of ours.
Hang out with Amy Abernathy and some other
Linda,
cool people.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. We were sitting around spinning on, well, I spun more than Laura because I didn't have to teach classes. But we had a lot of people come by and ask questions about the wheel and how it worked, and we enabled a couple people into getting spindles to get started on the spinning train. And most of the people that we enabled into getting spindles went to Dawning Dreams.
Yes.
Who's one of our favorite vendors.
Yes.
At the Arkansas thing, and she's on Etsy too. Dawning
and Leslie's
Dreams.
going to show off what she got this week, and I'll show off because I forgot it at home. I had this huge
No, it was
big
a
bag.
plan.
Yeah, it was a plan. A plan of fail. And I left it at home because I really want to start spinning the Dawning Dreams, so now I'm just epic fail, but I can wait a couple more days.
Yeah, because we only have like 4 more days until we record again, so.
Yay!
So I'm going to show y'all what I got at Arkansas. So it's kind of convenient because now I can call this research for the podcast. So I stopped at 3 or 4 different vendors. My friend Nicole, Blue Goose Farms, she had, and she is not on Etsy, it doesn't look like. She is local to us.
And, so she does local festivals.
Mm-hmm, and she has a farm, so we get our farm fresh eggs from her. And she does alpaca and mohair and some other things.
Romney, I think.
Yeah, wool. So I got a 2-ounce bat from her, and this is Cotswold Bamboo and Firestar in this really pretty.
I've never spun
sort
Cotswold. It'll be
Me neither. Sort of a pastel-y green colorway. So that'll be fun to spin up. I might try to do that in the long draw and see what I get. But and that's Nicole, Blue Goose Farms. And that's her contact information. And then I went by another local to us vendor. And I honestly, I hadn't planned on buying anything from her because I have a couple of bats from her that I haven't spun yet. And I wanted to do that first.
It's Brenda.
Yeah, it's Brenda. And she's wooden spinner.
And they have wonderful skein winders that her husband makes.
Yeah,
that they talked about on
wood.
Just One More Row. And actually, I took over my phone and had them listen to them review.
She was so stinking excited.
They both were. He was really excited too.
So this is not a color I would normally purchase for myself to spin, but it's very lofty and soft. And this is sort of a dark brown. I can't really tell how well the camera's picking that up. And they're each a little over 1.5 ounces. And it's alpaca and Shetland, and it's called Auburn. And they were very reasonably priced, like they were only about $8 a piece. So they're real soft and fluffy, and that made me happy. So I got 2 of those. And the bat that I'm spinning, or that I had spun from, there's stuff falling in my room.
Huh. It's weird because nothing's over there.
Yeah.
You have a ghost
it's
in
a
your
ghost.
room.
Whatever. Maybe they'll clean up after themselves. This was spinning straw into gold, and these were 3 1-ounce bats. She had 1-ounce bats again. This time it was in a different blend. It was in, I think, 50/50.
It was Tencel silk.
Tencel silk, I think.
It was Tencel silk.
But it seems fluffy, too fluffy for Tencel silk, don't you think?
No.
Okay. Well, I think it was Tencel silk, 50/50 Tencel silk. And the first day I bought 4, and then the second day I went back and bought 3 more. Because they're just too freaking pretty. And we saw this in the fiber optic booth at Kentucky, was it? The gradient shawl that she did, the Even Star.
She did the Even Star as a gradient.
Yeah, and it was gorgeous. And it made me think of doing a really big gradient shawl, and then I thought, well, 4 ounces isn't enough for that. So I went back and got 3 more. So hopefully 7 ounces is enough for that. So I'm going to show y'all. I took them out of the packages just so that it wouldn't be rustling. And look at my colors. Aren't they pretty?
They're very pretty.
So I got 7 individual 1 ounce bats, and they were also very reasonably priced. I want to say they were $8 a piece. And that is Spinning Straw into Gold. And I don't have her card, but I know for a fact she has a website.
We've linked her in the past.
We'll
on
link
the website.
her. Awesome lady, really nice. Her daughter was there
sweet.
helping her,
and she had like cashmere by the ounce. She had
like
all these cool
2 or 3
fibers
different kinds of
by the
cashmere.
ounce.
She had even cotton that I wouldn't have expected that it was so soft and pliable, but it was really nice. She had yak. She had all kinds of really great blends. So I recommend her. You should go check her out, Spinning Straw into Gold. But these were the 7 that I got. Only 7, right? And then I kept hearing, I don't typically buy yarn at the festivals. I stick to fiber for the most part. But I kept hearing people just raving about Brooks Farm.
They're out of Texas.
Brooks Farm this and Brooks Farm that. And it's awesome. And, you know, and I kept going back to their booth and going back to their booth. And
They have a yarn line called Foreplay.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
It's 4-ply, but they wordplay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I finally decided to just give in. I was going to get a sweater's worth, but I thought I haven't tried this yarn before, so I'm just going to get enough for like a baby sweater and try it out first, and then see how it goes. So
it's very restrained of you.
I got, and it's brooksfarmyarn.com, I think. But they mostly do festivals. I think that's how they do like 90% of their business. So this is a worsted, and this is called Solana, and that's the base. And it's 5.8 ounces, 320 yards of a worsted superwash wool. And I thought this would be pretty for a baby sweater and could go for either sex. Although probably would lean towards a boy with this. But it's really nice and squishy. And I like the colors in it quite a lot. And it was reasonable. I think it was $25 for 320 yards of worsted. And then she had a clearance section, and this was on sale for $21, and I love the base. It's called Macho, and it's a bulky, and this is 7.8 ounces or 205 yards of fine wool, and it's in this kind of crazy pink. Wow, the camera's going a little bit nuts over that. Hopefully it shows up better than it is for me, but yeah, it's this really...
bubblegum pink.
There you go, bubblegum pink colorway. And for $21, 205 yards of a bulky, and it's huge and rope-like, and I just really liked
But it's soft.
The texture.
Like you would think if it was more the way it's plied, it's a tight ply. You would think it'd be more like rope, but it's super soft.
Oh yeah, it's very soft. So I figure I'll try these 2 skeins and see what I think, and then buy more if I like them. So if you've tried Brooks Farm, leave a comment on the thread in Ravelry and tell me what you think of it. I've heard nothing but good things from people who bought from them, but I hadn't heard of them until the festival too, so we'll see. So that was my haul.
That's not bad.
From Arkansas, from only 26 fingers.
Well, I came back. I think I did more damage than you. I got 2 bats from Dawning Dreams, a pair of earrings, 2 things of soap, and a skinny yarn.
Oh, I got something from Dawning Dreams. I don't know if it's in my bag or not. She has these adorable handmade tags for your... Oh, here they are.
Hand-spun.
Hand-spun. She also has them for handmade gifts, so if you give a gift to someone, you can write the care instructions on there. But, here, let me take it out so you can actually see it. She's got 2 different kinds, and I've bought these before, and I have no idea where I put them. So I had to buy some more. But
I got that kind.
This is one version of them, and it's got a space for the yardage, the weight, the fiber content, and all that. This is another version of the same card.
And I like her actual business card.
And you get 10 of them for $2.50. Really reasonable price. You're supporting an indie crafter. I know she has them on her site.
And that's her business card. I like how it's got the little cutout on the side, on the top corner.
Yeah, she
really
takes
classy.
care, a little care in all of her things. She had some really cool steampunk spindles.
Yeah, she did.
One
and
of our
almost bought one.
of our viewers, Lita, Yarn Sniper, bought one and had us sign it later. But It was so cool. It almost made me want to buy a spindle, but I don't spindle enough to buy a spindle, another spindle. So, I've been talking for like 30 minutes. What have you got?
I have a new niece. Her name is
You
Alice
do?
Elizabeth. She was born on Saturday. I think it was like 1:45, 1 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, early afternoon.
And she is 21 inches long, 7.2 ounces. If you go to the Ravelry group, there are pictures of her and her with her sister Julia. And they are adorable.
And
I got to
first
FaceTime.
picture that Laura got of this baby
Was her wrapped in her
the watermelon blanket.
I don't want to call it the watermelon blanket, the log cabin I knit for her out of the chunky cotton from Classically, the Sprout. So that made me super happy.
That was very nice of your sister-in-law.
Yes, and it was my sister-in-law holding her in that. And then my brother called me Sunday, and I got to FaceTime with Alice for like 10 minutes, so he just held his phone in front of her.
I was going to say, did she talk much? Did she have anything to say?
She sneezed a couple times, but she was awake and she was adorable. So I cannot wait. In 2 weeks, I'll be there and I'll get to see her in real life, and that's so exciting to me. So congratulations to both my brother and my sister-in-law.
Congratulations.
And Alice and Julia, big sister Julia, so that's super exciting. I got a package. I came back to 2 packages, so it's a good thing I was pretty good at Arkansas.
It's a good thing you beat Wheezy home.
No, I did not beat Wheezy.
Oh, that's right.
Wheezy came home on Saturday.
That's right, because Mr. Awesome gave him a ride from the airport.
I got another crafty girl who Leslie did the worsted weight hat out of, had an update, and I got 2 of her sock yarns, and she did a Muppets update.
Yeah, she has
and,
a Muppets line colorway
very
now.
excited about this. This is Animal. It is orange with some charcoal and some kind of yellow in there, and it's just very, very pretty. I asked my father if he would wear it because his favorite color is orange. If he would wear socks out of this, and he just laughed. But it's red, orange, some lighter orange, and like a charcoal.
And this is the Animal colorway.
That's Animal. And then this is Swedish Chef, and I think this is going to become something for one of my nieces.
That's a very girl, happy spring colorway.
I think it's fun. So that is Swedish Chef. I got her strong sock base on both of them. That's my favorite base. It is a fingering 2-ply, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. And I love her little cards. They are so wee and cute.
She has a lot of detail to her products.
And they're squishy.
And
If I could
like
live
her
in a
yarn.
bed of another crafty girl, I'd be all about it.
I love the idea of indie dyers doing color lines based on, something from pop culture. So an example would be another crafty girl with her Muppets yarn.
And then people do Doctor Who yarn.
Mm-hmm. And then Heather from Highland Handmaids was talking on Plurk earlier this week, or last week maybe, about doing a Goonies line, which I'm fully in support of.
That would be awesome for you.
So I hope that she decides to do that, because I would be all over that. But I like the idea of kind of bringing pop culture into
I need people to do a Princess Bride line.
your yarn dyeing.
That would be fun.
So there you go, indie dyers. Laura wants a Princess Bride line. So what else? Is that it? Oh. It is if you're not an SSK person.
Or you don't care about SSK.
Or you don't care. You can skip it, and we appreciate you very much. If you are SSK, so we have 2 things. One, we have a new knit-along. The Windy Designer Period knit-along is done, and now we're on Kirsten Kapoor. And that'll be from December 1st until January 15th. Any pattern of Kirsten Kapoor.
Including some from her new book.
Yep. Anything that she's published anywhere, free, for paid, whatever, it doesn't matter. You'll get 3 extra tickets if you... and if you watched Karen's show, she doubled the numbers, and that wasn't correct. So the actual correct numbers are, if you knit it at all with any yarn, any of Kirsten Kapoor's patterns within the time frame, and post a picture, then you get 3 extra raffle tickets for the goodies at SSK, that extra prizes. If you do it with a vendor yarn that's going to be at a vendor that's going to be at SSK, and that's listed on the Super Summer Knit Away page, you get 5 extra tickets. Same thing, you have to post a picture, it has to be in the time frame. If you do it with hand spun fiber from a vendor that you got from a vendor that's going to be at SSK, you get 7.
So, for example, if I use my Haunted Vineyard to knit Thorpe,
that would get you
that would get
7
you.
tickets. Except you're not eligible.
No.
But, yeah, anybody else that's not me or Karen or Laura. And then the second thing is the second round of payments are due. $225 is your second payment, and it's due by the 15th of December. You can send in your checks and post date them up to the 15th of December. That's fine. We've had a few people do that, and that doesn't bother me at all. You can do it in PayPal. It does cost us a little more in fees, but if you're in another country, it's probably a lot less stressful for you to do it that way, and that's fine. And that's it, I think. Is that it for you?
Yeah. On the way home from Arkansas, we listened to Paula from Knitting Pipeline, and I Want to Be Char When I Grow Up. And we
my God, who was it that was on her show? Bronwyn and Char. Yeah, Char was so funny. But Bronwyn had a genius idea, or stole somebody else's genius idea, I don't know, of doing little
pies in a jar.
Pies in a jar. Totally stealing that idea.
And she actually has a handmade holidays section on the Knitting Pipeline board. So if you're not listening to Paula and you're just interested in some great handcrafted, I don't know why you wouldn't be listening to Paula.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you want some handcrafted gift ideas for the holidays, Bronwyn has a great thing. And it's always so much fun when Char and Bronwyn and Paula get together. Those are always some of my favorite episodes. Not that the ones without them are bad, because really there's no such thing as
It's just nice to hear Paula giggling and laughing. So
they always laugh, and there's outtakes, and it's lots of fun. And we also listened to Just One More Row, which was fun, and they reviewed the last knit scene and talked about how people came about their Ravelry names. So that was fun. You had a question on the board, but we might have to answer that next time because I can't remember what it was off the top of my head.
It was, and we've actually had a couple, but the one that I remember that was the most recent one was about how to moderate a board with a lot of members, because one of our viewers just adopted a board with a high viewer count, I guess. And I moderate the Vulmiza Holics Anonymous board, which is about 5,000 members, maybe more now. I don't even know. And then our group, which is 2,300 at the moment. I wish I had some really good advice for you. Our board
communication is key.
Yeah, our board is easy because people are nice. You know, very rarely do we ever have to.
We don't have flounces.
Thoroughly moderating. Although I really want to have to put somebody in timeout. Like that's my goal.
Not that anyone deserves timeout. You can put me in timeout. How about that?
But the Vulmiza board is harder.
Put Jessica in timeout.
yeah. We can't because she's a mod, I think.
Oh.
But the Vulmiza board is harder just because it can explode, and the comments, like there are some threads that, like Laura said, because I can't complete a sentence today. Communication. So the Vulmiza board mods and I communicate through email just because it's easier than going back and forth in PMs, and you can't have group PMs right now in Ravelry. So we communicate that way whenever we have a new thing come up. Whatever your rules are, set them and keep them.
Yes.
Like we have certain threads you're not allowed to chat in, not in the Vulmiza board. Certain threads you're not allowed to chat in. Certain threads you can only post certain things in. I
think as long as the rules have to be clear, and if they're at the top of that page and linked to the top of whatever the thread is, that makes it very clear. And I think you do a good job. If someone does something by accident, y'all don't just jump all over them. They're like communication with the person. I mean, no one likes to have their post deleted by a mod.
Yeah,
that sucks.
That you'll be dead to me if you delete my post. That's just FYI. Because I'll be happy to go and edit it if there's a problem, but that's kind of, unless I'm blatantly breaking a rule that you have specified in the top of the thread, don't delete my post. You know who you are.
So it's just one of those things.
But yeah.
I think communication is clear.
And don't try to take it all on yourself. Add more mods. We recently added a new mod to the Vulmiza board, Nelago. Anyway, Nelago, and she is fantastic. She did a whole bunch of new knit-alongs, and she started another one recently, or she's about to. So it's fantastic. I love her. She's
Fresh
awesome.
blood is always good. Jessica and Becky always add a lot to the Knit Girls board as well.
Yeah, I would say at least one mod for every 1,000 people. At least, if not
That's
more.
always a good rule of thumb. Because sometimes, like, when we travel, y'all could be doing crazy stuff on the boards. We don't know. That's why we have Jessica and Becky.
Yep.
And we had Jessica because Becky was with us once. And we need, if all three of us are on vacation together, that's not a good sign for the boards. So we try to, but like we said earlier, just to reiterate, I think communication amongst all the mods. Because it also sucks if you say something as a mod and then another mod goes around and says something completely accident, and that can happen just because you're not communicating or you didn't
you're
read
in
all
different
the
time
posts.
zones, which is the case in Volmonza. We've got people, you know, in different time zones in different countries. So.
Yep.
Okay, we're at an hour now, so we're gonna wrap this crap up, and
I'm glad I didn't bring over my stuff.
and we will see you guys again on Sunday.
All right, bye y'all.